or bright at times. Here are the predictions, actually. We do have the main caster. Of course, he always votes for Flash. It doesn't matter who he's going against. And he usually does not benefit from that prediction.
Never, ever.
Yeah. Especially with how poorly Flash is doing this year of Pro League. And Kanata also going for the vote on Flash. I'm sure some of those predictions have to do with how poorly herO did perform against Dream, but
that must be it, right?
At the end of the day, that was Dream.
It's Dream.
And this is Flash.
Yeah.
These are two different players
completely
entirely.
Different styles, completely different people and mindsets when they come into this game. Yeah, it's a bit of a blunder, I think, going for Flash in this case.
Like, maybe Flash had a lot to study from that. Maybe he is going to try to channel a bit of Dream and say, oh, I can just play like Dream did. You know, Dream just totally shut him out 4-0. I can copy that. That should be easy enough.
Right.
Like, somehow Dream found the key to defeating herO or something.
I don't know.
But I don't see it. I really don't see it.
herO played particularly bad that day as well. It wasn't simply just Dream being a god. Though he was playing tremendously, it was just a little off that day. And here's a look at Flash. 6-10 this season, 3-3 against Protoss.
Yeah, at least his versus Protoss isn't his worst matchup here. It would be interesting, actually, to get a look at his worst matchup. Let me check that out.
It might even be TVT, actually.
Yeah, it is TVT. He's 1-4.
Yeah.
And versus Zerg, it's 2-3.
His last two games in Pro League were against Innovation and MMA. He lost both those games. Got eliminated by herO and Dream in GSL Code S recently. Well, I guess about a month ago now.
Yeah.
So, you know, they have a little bit of recent history, getting 2-0'd by herO. 12-12, including unofficial there overall.
Wow.
Pretty impressive.
That's really nice to have against the guy who's the most winning player in all of Pro League right now and just made it to the semifinals of the SSL.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, herO is 7-0 against Terran in Pro League. So I don't, that all kind of goes out the window.
Everything goes out the window when it's that. It's actually ridiculous. 7-0 against Terran. Though he did lose 4-0 against Dream recently, so that is also a big hit. But after that, he did defeat MMA as well in Pro League to give him an extra point against Terran. So,
yeah. Well, so that was the game, actually, we were thinking about, where herO just wrecked MMA with a bunch of drops.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, guys, we're about to jump into game number 2. As we mentioned before, Flash versus herO. Looks like Flash still adjusting his equipment as we're about to jump into the game. The map is going to be Echo, a 2-player map, the same map that MMA was able to, herO was able to defeat MMA on. So let's see if herO can do that once again here against the god of Starcraft, Flash. These guys joking around a bit before we get into the game.
Indeed they are, Valdez. We'll be in just a second. And maybe this is the new map for herO, because we are seeing him come out a lot more on this map against Terran. Maybe it's the King Sejong of this map pool.
Could be, man. Let's get into the game right now and see how it goes down. Flash versus herO on Echo. Down here in the bottom right, in the red, our Terran player from KT Rolster, the god of Starcraft. It is Flash.
And up here in the top left, do have the famous CJ Protoss herO. 7-0 against Terran, looking for 8-0 today. Leading the way in the winners charts. Handsome young man. Recently got 4-0'd by Dream, though. Yeah. I can keep going, Valdez.
Another handsome man over there, Dream. Just taking out Protoss after Protoss. That guy is insane. Looks like Flash gets the fans' vote, at least.
Fans' favoritism.
Yeah, fan favoritism for sure. 57-43 over herO.
You know, I thought I was handsome, Valdez, until the CJ coach said I looked like Steven Seagal.
Yeah, I was there for that. You're still handsome,
then
man.
I have something really to worry about, I think.
Nah, you're fine, man.
I don't know.
I think it was just mentioning the hairstyle.
I don't know if that's even okay.
CJ Antis coach, let me tell you, he's a wacky guy. His mind is all over the place. He's an awesome coach.
He's a great guy, but you got to be careful what you say about people, man.
No, I really enjoy talking to him. It's always a fun conversation, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun. Steven Seagal, I mean, I guess You know, he's got the moves, right?
Is he even that bad looking? I haven't seen him enough, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah. I have an idea. Are we going back to Google? This is like the new thing for this cast.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, this is what I look like.
No, man. He's just talking about the hairstyle. Don't be.
All right.
Don't worry about that, man.
All right. I trust you.
You have no resemblance to Steven Seagal, let me tell you. Now that I got a better picture of what he actually looks like. Very early scout here from herO.
Yeah.
Wants to be safe against Flash, I suppose.
Yeah, I feel like if herO just plays a normal game, like plays a little bit safer against someone like Flash, who I think is pretty much insanely favored against, he should be fine. Flash is going to have to really dig deep. You know, he does have the mechanics behind it. I mean, I guess if herO lets him play his own style, like something that Flash would always wanted to do is go for CC first. So maybe that's why we did see such an early scout. Like, would he actually CC first on this map against Protoss? That would
Two-player map.
Two-player map this small, like you can just die to a probe or something. Not really, but should. So it makes sense that he scouted this early. He sees a Reaper opening though, so he's like, okay, I'll delay my Nexus, delay any aggression, go for that simple Mothership core early enough to defend against it.
Yeah, so we're just going to transition into a bit of a normal one here in the mid-game. Flash getting that Reaper out. He's going to see exactly what herO's got in the main base. Mothership core. We'll push him out, though.
Push him out for now. Gonna check around, maybe try and dart around. He will successfully at least look up the ramp, but there is that little Sim City with the Cyber and Gateway blocking the way.
Look at this Moonglade.
Okay.
An extremely fast third CC coming down for Flash.
See, this is exactly what herO was looking for as well with that early sky. He's like, how greedy are you going to be this game?
He's like, what kind of greedy build are you going to do to actually have a chance against me?
Mm-hmm. That's what it comes down to as well.
How are you going to get the first Terran win against me in this season of Pro League? How are you going to do it, Flash?
Yep.
Is this your answer?
Is this your answer to get that really quick third CC and try and get something done? He did get the scout off there, so that's very nicely done there.
Yeah, he's even going to save the Reaper. I guess the idea behind this from Flash is that herO almost 100% of the time goes for Twilight Council first, gets the blink out, transition into a little bit later of a robotics facility. So he's going to have a bit later of a scout in the main base with those observers. So I guess he can get away with this if herO's not looking very closely.
I think also you'd want to try and identify if there was going to be a Stargate out on the map, because one thing that could do a lot of work against the double CC this early after one Rax is a proxy Oracle, right? That's going to really throw a spanner in the works. Still, Blink Stalkers could also do some pretty good work here. You know, they could actually do a lot of harassment.
We saw Flash even jump up in there, just get a quick look at the gas. Just wants to see exactly how tech-heavy herO is going. Nice positioning there on that Stalker to deny the Reaper getting into the main. Ooh, gonna keep that alive now. So yeah, herO just transitioning to what he normally does, gets that blink out, finally see that robotics facility, and then we have 2 extra gates coming down, though.
See how many more gateways he adds. He's going for the gases in the natural state. Just a couple of extra gates, nothing to really worry about for Flash.
Yeah.
Maybe if we saw maybe 2 more, like a 5-gate Blink Stalker, we could see a lot of aggression, but at this rate, simply going to go into that macro game.
Mm-hmm. And Flash behind this, he does have like a reasonable amount of units. He does get that third CC up, but he did go 3 racks as well as, just 2 tech labs. So he's going to have a bunch of those upgrades coming out here for his infantry units, both the stim and the combat shield. So he's going to be pretty safe behind this as long as he just turtles off of this and eventually moves out that CC.
Yeah, he's actually got a pretty healthy bio army at this point. Like, once stim is finished, he could definitely move on the map and look for some real damage, depending on when herO wants to go for that third base as well. But I think knowing herO, he'll probably want to throw down 2 Forges and go for Colossus before he really commits to anything more on an extra base. We'll see. You know, he's got to be careful how greedy he's going to be against a build like this. Flash may have gone for that extra CC, but he's also pumping out a lot of bio early.
Yeah. And look at this. herO is going to finally scout that third orbital coming down for the land at that third base, and immediately puts down a third Nexus because he knows the kind of greedy build Flash went for. Now he's going to trade a little bit in the middle of the map with his Blink Stalkers. Gets a couple of kills there. Looks like he loses that probe, though. Well, this is annoying. Oh, man, he's even going to warp in a bunch of units here.
Wow, okay. Not expecting that.
But this is actually going to delay that third base from coming down, so I guess this is one way to combat it.
Yeah, Flash has no intention either of deflecting it for now. He's got some buy moving out now, but definitely delayed it for some time.
And herO just some really, really nice blink micro. I think that's a bit of a risky warp in there. Loses one of his stalkers. Another one gets low. At least he is delaying that third base more and more.
Kind of picking apart the army, doing a lot of damage, getting rid of a lot of the Marines before it got halfway across the map. Flash, just gonna, he kind of just made space for this one. Though there was a pylon in his third base, he kind of pushed the army back, managed to solidify that third base. His bio army is getting bigger and bigger, but man, are those medivacs late.
Yeah, they really are. That's one of the downsides of going for this kind of build. And so many stalkers out here for herO. Just continues to trade more and more with Flash. Gets small little advantages to pull himself back into that game. He's got his own third base up at this point. He's pumping out those Colossi about one by one.
One by one so far, and no forges just yet either, which is a bit of a surprise. herO just really focusing on keeping this army distracted while he does get that economy up. Get those Colossus out, and now we're seeing more production buildings go down finally.
Is he going to just commit to a big attack here with a bunch of gates? Because like you were saying, these forges are extremely late.
I think he must be waiting to add them. He's just simply investing so much into Colossus and the Colossus upgrades right now that he can't really afford to double upgrade. Maybe when he's on that 6 gas, he can go for it. But he wants to do so soon because Flash has already got +1, moving across the map now.
Flash confident enough to finally take on those stalkers. The medevac's pumping out now. He can more reasonably stim here without losing too much health. And yeah, still no forges. He's just getting out more gates, more Colossi.
There they are. Finally they go down. You'll see them in just a sec on the production tab. But decided to make them now. They're a little late. Better late than never. He can't always catch up with Chronoboost. Making sure he can solidify his third base without worrying. Getting enough Colossus out to deal with this.
Oh boy. herO is just so confident to take these trades. Once he groups up with just the Guardian Shield and those 2 Colossi, he's like, okay, I can finally take on this gigantic bio army with just my small army with enough AoE.
Yeah, he's down in supply, like over 20 supply down currently. He's actually got a pretty big bank right now. He should be actually spending some of that. Not sure what he's doing exactly. Not even getting the upgrades just yet.
Yeah. Both the Protosses today just kind of flubbing a bit. I don't know how to else describe it. Just like a little bit off, it seems, today with their mechanics. You see him finally just warping a ton of stalkers to deal with that bang. That's one way to do it, I suppose.
Try and hide it as fast as possible. Hide the shame of bang. I remember when I used to do that, Valdez.
He's adding so many gates, too. We just had 2 more come down, and he had 2 more, so 4 in total, and I guess 6 with those 2 that just came down. So I guess maybe he'll add a Warp Prism soon, or maybe he's already got it out. I think the Warp Prism spree just finished as well, so we could see some harass coming out of here from herO.
There, yeah, he's warping in a bunch of Zealots. Going to go try and delay Flash's attack even more so now that we see a big bio army come across the map.
This army is gigantic. He's going to have +2 weapons, +1 armor, and even the +1 for his Vikings, his mech units.
Up 40 supply right now, Valdez. 50 supply. herO has to be so careful right now.
Really nice force fields, but he's playing with fire, like you were saying. He can't just go head-to-head with this.
Now he's going to start warping it now. Like, he's got so much money, he needs to get rid of it.
Really nice warp in here to do some damage to the economy of the third base. And even here in the main, nothing to deal with this right now. Just one Viking to take out the Warp Prism. But again, there's that huge damage. But at the same time, herO's got a giant push on his front doorstep.
One of his Colossus is out of place too. He's going to have to really rely on some decent force fields. But look at this, the natural's completely open right now.
Nice time warp on the top part of Flash's army, but he's just going to stem forward. He's got a really nice concave there on the low ground and a ton of Vikings to deal with the small number of Colossi at the same time. Looks like Flash might just be able to roll over this, and a lot of Warpins coming in, and the DTs too, but a really nice scan here to deal with them all.
Yeah, this is not looking good at all. He might be able to wipe it out finally, but Flash is still so far ahead in economy. He reset the Colossus count, and it looks like he's gunning for that third Nexus.
Wow. Flash is just doing a ton of damage. herO down to 70 supply. He loses all the probes at the third base. And just one Colossus at a time coming out here for herO. Really hard to deal with this right now.
Yeah, he can just start parading units across the map. There's nothing to stop this flow of units. There's no War Prism anymore. There's no units, no pylon on the map that's really going to put his army out of place for a little while to defend against him. herO looks in so much trouble right now. It's kind of strange to see this happen, but he's so far behind in upgrades right now. His army's being annihilated. His economy is in shambles.
Yeah.
Flash is playing fantastic.
Flash just got very far ahead early on in the game with that super early third CC, and herO really was never able to punish it. He did some really nice Blink Stalker micro in the mid game to pick off some units, but that huge push that eventually came with +2/+1 may have just been too much for herO to handle. He's going to take one more fight here. He's got a decent mix of units, and no scan on the DTs that are doing a ton of damage, but will it be enough? That's the question.
I don't think it will be. Maybe just. But
just
still,
barely.
40 supply down. He's got the his third base is kind of up and running. There's no gas still.
And there's that scan.
Yeah. Might be enough. Warping and Stalkers, surprisingly.
He's just going to try to micro his way out of this, it seems. Finally, some Zealots coming in. One more DT. And Flash is just going to lift up in the main. He loses a whole medevac worth of units. But at this point in time, he's got so much momentum behind him. He's doing a ton of damage in the main base now.
Really nothing left in that third base either. The main base no longer mining either. Units just kind of building up outside that third for Flash. Looking to end the game, essentially. I mean, there just isn't much left for herO now. Got 3 Stalkers, 3 Zealots, and a Colossus to deal with 1 Medivac in the main.
And Flash's economy, he took a bit of damage from that one War Prism drop, but after he cleaned that up, he essentially took no damage. A really nice snipe here on that last Colossus. And just more nice micro here to clean up herO. Getting into that third base, into the minerals even, a micro against the Zealots.
And this is herO's first loss of the season to Terran. And who would have thought it would be to Flash of all players? Flash is showing some excellence. Something we don't get to see that often from him, especially in this matchup.
herO still sticking in the game, but he's going to have to micro his heart out. Just a ton of Marauders pumping out at a time, 5 at a time, and only 1 Colossus here.
He's kind of just going through the motions at this point. I don't think he can actually believe that he lost. Maybe he came into this a little too confident, though. Maybe he's still reeling from that loss against Dream. It's hard to say.
Definitely could have played a big part into this one, and Flash takes a big upset win against herO. Definitely not what we expected.
Not at all, Valdez, but you know, a pleasant surprise as well, I gotta say.
Yeah, really nicely played by Flash. He gets ahead, some really nice greedy play that herO was not able to punish, and just kind of plays a really, really strong macro TDP there. Really nice follow-up push, just to deal with the little that herO had towards the end of the game there as well.
Well, this actually puts KT in match point, Valdez, surprisingly already. I was not expecting this to happen, and there is possibility that they can close it out with a 3-0 if Zeth can defeat Bjorn. It certainly isn't impossible.
It's a possibility. You know, me and you, we both voted for Biel here, but Biel has had safety games, mostly in ZVZ, though. I do kind of feel okay with him going up against Protoss. The one series he didn't have that great of a time was against Classic, actually, when he went down 0-3. But besides that, he's been pretty strong across the board. Zest, on the other hand, we haven't seen too much of his PvZ these days, and he's coming out on an Expedition loss, which is also pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Could even be a snipe pick for Biel.
I think it might have to be, right? Because it is the Zerg map. We see Zergs time and time again come out on this map. So I think Zest must be ready for it. It's such a hard map for Protoss though because of that back door against someone like against Zerg players in general. You know, it's always going to make it so much harder. That's why we don't see it that much. Usually we'll see like a Terran maybe come out sometimes, but
occasionally,
not usually a Protoss.
Yeah, we saw TY that one time with a very nicely prepared tank push on the low ground to shell the Zerg units. That one time, I forget who the Zerg was, but He really worked that one through. But it's going to be an interesting game coming up next. Definitely want to catch this one, guys. Zest versus Biel, as we did mention. Zest kind of on match point to end it out here for KT. But before we get to that game, guys, a 3-minute break. We'll be right back.